The new Vesper's Host fusion rifle has built-in weakening, explosions, and even instant grenade regen for PvE, while its PvP god rolls are so good, they had to be hidden behind a massive wall of Destiny 2 dungeon RNG. I'm talking unheard of amounts of aim assist, accuracy, range, and handling all at the same time with the speed of an adaptive fusion rifle. The results are mind-blowing. I'm going to show you exactly what my personal testing has revealed for these perks and then give you my ultimate god rolls. I guarantee they are not what you think. Some perks you think you want are not actually my top picks, but don't worry, I know how brutal RNG is and I'll provide plenty of backup options so you can sort through the rolls you picked up and land yourself the best roll you can on the new King of Fusion Rifles. I'm LegoLaFlash, and this is VS Gravitic Arrest, the adaptive frame void fusion rifle from Vesper's Host, and she is a beauty. I wasn't sure on the scope at first, but after you build it out with the perks I recommend, it feels amazing. You can get this fusion to drop from any encounter of the dungeon, but until they fix the first encounter ball dupe cheese, I highly encourage you to grab some friends from my Discord LFG and go to town. We've got it down to very chill 2-minute runs, and every fusion I've got has been from this encounter. You can even do this cheese solo, and that's how I ended up with my PvE god roll I'll talk about in a bit. Let's talk stats first though, because I see a lot of people looking at Gravitic Arrest's range stat and seeing that it's quite a bit lower than Techie Force, Pressurized Precision, and Burden of Guilt. Let me put your mind at ease. Range will not be a problem here. We'll just note that and come back to it. Stability, on the other hand, is actually the highest of any adaptive fusion rifle by a lot in some cases. 13 points higher than Royal Executioner, 9 more than Techie, so we know what stat not to worry about. Handling is a bit on the low side like range, but aim assist is stacked on Gravitic as well. 50 aim assist is great. That's more than a targeting mod over Techie Force. And then we've got a 55 recoil direction, which is perfect to me for vertical tending shots. Remember, fusion rifles didn't get deterministic recoil patterns. A lot of people forget that, so it's pretty much the same here. But now, let's break everything with some perks. Okay, Gravitic Arrest has 2 ridiculous things going on in PvE, but I want to start with PvP because there are some serious sleepers I don't want y'all to delete. Starting with To The Pain. This is the only fusion rifle in the entire game that has To The Pain. And while yes, Under Pressure is here and it's giving an amazing accuracy cone buff up to minus 25% at the end of the mag, To The Pain is a strong contender for the top PvP perk. The more damage you take while the weapon is out, the more stacks of To The Pain you get. Each stack gives you more handling and plus 2 aim assist, maxing out at plus 20 aim assists. I'm usually not a damage taking buff fan, but think about it for a second on a fusion. While you're getting shot at charging the fusion rifle, you're gathering stacks of aim assist to shoot off at your opponent. It's perfect. If you stack a targeting weapon mod on top of 3 helmet targeting mods, you can max out at 85 aim assist for just using the weapon as normal. Burden of Guilt, even with a powerhouse perk like Alacrity and an adept targeting mod with helmet mods, can only reach up to 79. To The Pain gets up to 85 aim assist on Gravitic Arrest, and it just happens, regardless of what your teammates are doing. The handling is great too, and while I don't have the exact numbers for that part, when combined with the handling from Closing Time, which we'll get to in a second, I have no doubt To The Pain is maxing out the handling stat. Just look at this. And it stays up with To The Pain until you stow the weapon. Now yes, Under Pressure is great too, giving you quite a bit more stability along with the accuracy cone size. So I'm not telling you to trash your Under Pressure rolls, I just have to point out that To The Pain is the unique find here, and I don't want everyone to be blinded by Under Pressure. Speaking of blinded, I've got to talk about Closing Time and Fragile Focus in the 4th column. In my mind, Fragile Focus was gonna be the broken perk on an adaptive because we've never seen that before on this archetype. Plus 20 range on a fusion this fast is crazy, right? Maybe Closing Time is the distraction. No, I could not be more wrong, like laughably wrong. My testing shows that Closing Time is a plus 12.5 to plus 25 range that happens linearly starting at 50% of the mag. On a fusion rifle, this is per bolt, so your damage falloff will be slightly further every bolt that comes out, and it means that the last burst you have, or the one burst you start with in the Crucible, starts at over plus 20 range and ends at plus 25 range. That sounds unbelievable, but I tested across both hand cannons and fusion rifles, and the results were the same every time. So the shot you spawn with in the Crucible has more range with closing time than it does with Fragile Focus, and I haven't even got to the accuracy and handling stuff yet. So accuracy, the testing I did shows that closing time gives minus 6.25% to minus 12.5% accuracy cone size depending on where you are in the mag. Just like the range, starting at about minus 6% cone size halfway through the mag. For comparison, this is exactly half the accuracy buff you get with Under Pressure. So it's not quite as good, but you're getting so much range that the fact that you even get this accuracy buff with it at all is kind of crazy. On top of all that, you get a handling buff. I'm sure someone will test the specifics here eventually, but I can say it feels pretty significant. You're not maxing out your handling right away, but when combined with To the Pain, you definitely will. It's like slick draw levels. Of course, you can stack Under Pressure and closing time together for massive accuracy buffs too, which makes for two really good options here, whether you go Under Pressure and closing time or To the Pain and closing time. I'm going to skip Kickstart here entirely. If you want that, you should just craft Tachyon Force. You're missing all the unique perks here going Kickstart, and Tachyon will just serve you better and you get exactly what you want. Heating Up is unique fine with Successful Warm-Up, no other adaptive has it, and it's really good, but I'd make the argument that you're fast enough without Successful. It's cool on a Precision or High Impact, and I think the other perks are just more meaningful here on an adaptive. Unrelenting and Demo are fine for PvP, but let's start moving into PvE at this point because things get crazy. I'm about to turn my fusion rifle into Salvager Salvo, but first, Repulsor Brace and Withering Gaze. This is of course huge for PvE, but just for a moment with PvP, Withering Gaze will weaken opponents on your first bolt after ADSing for 1.5 seconds. That means you can gain that Repulsor Brace overshield from simply getting a kill. So it's a void overshield on any class, any character contained in one weapon. You can of course tie it into so many more verbs like Stylus Executioner on a Hunter, Void Harvest Fragment to make Void Breaches on weakened kills to proc Starvation Fragment for Devour, all from one weapon kill. But even without all that, you can just have a mini loop between Repulsor and Withering Gaze. I will say, I don't think I've ever ADS'd for 1.5 seconds on a fusion rifle in my entire life, but that might fit some of your playstyles, and it's become a valid option with these perks. I've also found with some help from my community that Withering Gaze will activate during the charge. The perk says to wait to fire, but just charging does not appear to mess up the Withering Gaze activation, making it perfect for fusion rifles. Now in PvE, Withering Gaze is the perfect perk to use on a weapon swapping damage rotation. The fusion rifle charge doesn't take up the whole time you need, but if you just wait a moment before firing, Withering Gaze will activate mid-charge and you can weaken the opponent while activating something like bait and switch on your heavy. So that alone is huge, and I imagine many will be running Repulsor Brace Withering Gaze or even Demolitionist Withering Gaze, but there is an even more appealing combo to me, and that is Demolitionist and Chain Reaction on a fusion rifle. Oh my gosh, I know Chain Reaction isn't what it used to be, but the fact that I can throw down a nade and with one shot have my entire nade back again is just unbelievable. You may be thinking, what's the big deal? We've got plenty of grenade launchers, primary weapons that do this, sure. But all of them, including grenade launchers and trace rifles, are only giving 10 to 11% energy back. This fusion, when enhanced, is giving 22% back, which means just 4 kills and I've got my nade back instantly. Especially since the origin trait, Bray Legacy, is often doing the fill-in work for me, giving a small bit of energy back to the ability closest to being refilled. I was originally super disappointed that this fusion didn't come with Discord for the infinite ammo fusion rifle in the energy slot. There are none right now in that slot, but getting this combo feels like the next best thing for PvE. I will have this fusion glued to me and my Renewal Grasp Hunter for the rest of the season. Now, let's talk specific god rolls and the new weapon mods for fusion rifles. My ultimate VS Gravitic Arrest PvP god roll is a range masterwork, Hammerforge rifling, projection fuse, To the Pain, and closing time. I am obsessed with this combo, and I can almost guarantee after you try it, you will be too. Without any help from the mods, you'll be hitting 84 to 89 range on your first burst with tighter accuracy cone, and if you got shot at, you could be hitting up to 70 aim assist. This is all on an adaptive frame speed fusion. It feels crazy. We'll get to the mods in a second, but I want to note that throwing a ballistics mod would push the range up to 95 by the end, or with the targeting and helmet mods, up to 85 aim assists. Those are some wild numbers that you can do with this roll. Now, here's the thing, don't be sad if you get under pressure and closing time. This is still an incredible combo that I think many will even prefer. Double accuracy perks, it's the main ingredient of adaptive fusion rifles. I just want to emphasize one last time that this combo can be found on both Zealots and Plug 1, so if you're looking for easier or faster shots, you might want to look there rather than test dungeon RNG, but if you got it, I think it's still amazing and could definitely be your personal god roll. Speaking of, there are plenty of B team rolls here. Anything that gives range on the barrels, corkscrew, extended full bore, and small bore are all great. And I'd even settle for a charge time masterwork since it's just free speed. We're not really lacking range here. Then for the perks, any combo of under pressure with successful warm-up, withering gaze, or fragile focus, or closing time with demo, unrelenting, or heating up. I just would not recommend using this fusion without either under pressure or closing time. That sucks for roles like heating up and successful warm-up or repulsor brace with withering gaze, but I think you need at least one accuracy perk to help with the fusion feel great at all times in PvP. The other thing I would not do is run accelerated coils on an adaptive. This is the only frame it even matters on, but I would not risk the bolts to kill changing at various resilience levels because you wanted slightly faster charge time. Any other archetype, it's fine to run pretty much anything now without high impact reserves, but just don't do it on an adaptive. Before we move to PvE, let's talk fusion rifle weapon mods in PvP now that we've got new ones. You don't need to consider counterbalance, I'm telling you, it's fine without that at a nice 55 recoil direction, but you should consider ballistics for +6 range and stability, CQC optics high for +1 zoom, or a regular targeting mod. Here are the differences and how to think about them. The optics +1 zoom is basically a mini rangefinder built into your mod slot. Yes, it's nearly that strong on a 15 zoom weapon. Rangefinder would be like 1.65 magnification, and this +1 zoom is 1.6 magnification, all coming from a 1.5. So let's just call it 75% of what rangefinder does. That's not a damage distance increase, that's just accuracy, recoil stability, and the distance that aim assist will operate in, not actual damage. Range from the ballistics mod will give a small bit of all that stuff I just said, but actually extend the damage too. Very minimal amounts, so you aren't going to feel it as much as just see slight damage number increases in distance shots. The targeting is just aim assist, not your accuracy cone, not extending how far your aim assist goes, just how strong the aim assist is within your current range. So what does all that mean? Which one do you want? Well, it depends on how you're performing with the fusion. If you're hitting all your bolts no matter how far away but you're hitting damage drop off, go ballistics mod for more range. If you're not hitting your shots up close, stick with the targeting mod like usual. If you're hitting shots up close but struggling connecting the bolts further away, then I'd try out the optics mod. I used all of them while testing Gravitic Arrest and I like all of them. There was not a bad one in my opinion, they just all felt slightly different, with optics maybe being the most jarring but still really good. Okay, my ultimate VS Gravitic Arrest PvE God Roll Fusion Rifle is Hammer Forge, Liquid Coils, Demolitionist, Chain Reaction, and a Charge Time Masterwork. I know I got range haters out there in the comments for PvE, but listen, I will take it as long as it doesn't negatively affect my handling. Liquid for a slight bit more damage while I'm slaying out with Demo and Chain Reaction to get my grenades back instantly. It's such a strong utility fusion, and like I said, it's going to be glued to me all season. Charge Time Masterwork's just free speed, and the mod I'd consider tactical for reload and handling, backup mag for more ammo, Synergy for elemental or orb pickups, and even heavy ammo enhancer, maybe. The runners-up God Roll for Gravitic Arrest in PvE will of course be Demo and Withering Gaze, but the truth is I'm waiting for Glacioclasm to come out to farm that roll. Glacioclasm's near 1 second charge time is perfect to pair with a perk that takes 1.5 seconds to activate, and I imagine once I get one of those, I'm never touching Gravitic Arrest with Withering Gaze again. Glacio will just fit better into any damage rotation. You won't be wasting time waiting to charge because you might time Withering Gaze wrong on this adaptive fusion rifle. There's just too tight of a window for optimizing DPS rotations. However, I will be wasting my time farming away in the Vesper's host dungeon first encounter to get the perfect all-range PvP God Roll. I already got my PvE roll and it's incredible, but I need the PvP goods because I truly believe it doesn't get better than that. I don't even have a perfect roll and it feels like the best fusion rifle I've ever used. What about Zealot's Reward LEGO? It's gonna be great, don't get me wrong, but it's not hitting close to 100 range like this one is, so it's really gonna come down to preference or even map size, but I'm excited to craft my Zealots later today. Whole other thing. What about the new Plug 1? Well, that's a slower fusion rifle. There's no other fusion that hits that far, this fast, and with extra accuracy, aim assist, and handling thrown on top. Gravitic Arrest is incredible. If you stuck around to the end, way to go. Y'all are amazing. Give me a King of Fusions in the chat, or your personal King of Fusion if you'd like. And if you want to stick around for the next guide, I'd love to have you. This has been LEGO LaFlash. Until next time, GG.